Perfect. So welcome everybody. Welcome to our Native CDFI Capital Access Convenings breakout session on this day. This session is user-friendly, high-tech for reaching low-tech communities, and we're lucky to have Russ Siegel join us for this presentation. He's the Executive Director of Sequoia Fund and has a lot of experience using a lot of technology, reaching the clients that he serves and the communities he works with. And so, yeah, I'll go ahead and turn it right over to you, Russ. Welcome.
Thanks, Heather. So before we roll into the slide deck and start the actual presentation, I just want to make sure everybody can hear me okay. If you want to jump in the chat, just give me a yes. Make sure I'm heard and you don't have to read my lips. And there's a reason I want you to do this. Before we start the slides, I want to talk about the importance of good audio. And before you start to wonder, what is this drab background back here? I am in a hotel. I am not in my home studio. I'm not in our office where we normally do these. And the Wi-Fi in the room was terrible. I could barely get an email in there. So I talked to the hotel management and said, I need something better. They gave me access to the staff's super fast Wi-Fi, and they put me in an expansive conference room. We could probably play a good game of football in here. It's pretty large. And so while you may be hearing me clearly, it may also sound like I'm in a big space. And part of what we're going to talk about today is why you need good audio. Video is okay. People will give you a pass if your video isn't great. Because a lot of people listen to videos, but don't necessarily watch them. So they'll cut you a little slack if your video is not great, but they won't cut you any slack if your audio is bad. So I'm going to switch over here
to a different microphone. And this is my travel microphone. It is not an expensive microphone, but you may be able to tell a difference. It's a little bit clearer, hopefully. If you want to jump in the chat, tell me if you hear a difference. It may not be as loud, but it may not sound like I'm coming to you from a metal bucket either. So it's really important that we have good audio in whatever we do, whatever kind of videos that we produce, and things like that. And that's where we're going to spend most of our time today, is in video. This is, again, user-friendly, high-tech for low-tech communities. We're in Western North Carolina. We're in the mountains. We don't have great broadband access. We don't have a lot of high-speed connections. And it's tough for people sometimes to access us and access what we do. But I want to tell you how we've done it in a way that reaches people both through low-speed connectivity and through mobile. So we're going to talk about Sequoia Fund's digital journey, how we got to where we are and how we got to what I think is pretty good at this. We'll talk about the importance of digital outreach, creating your digital outreach strategy, how to look dynamite on a firecracker budget. And I'll show you my actual setup here today. Don't laugh, please be gentle. We'll talk about creating your digital content creation calendar. That's really important so that you have a roadmap for where you're going in your digital outreach efforts, and troubleshooting tips, because there are always going to be tech gremlins. Anywhere you go, anything you do, no matter how you prepare, things are going to happen. So this is being recorded, but I want to tell you one of the things we're doing to stave off any tech gremlins is that if anything happens to this feed, if anything happens here, I am going to send a fully re-recorded session to OESTA, and they can put that in place of what we're doing right now. So you're going to get all the content. You're going to have access through your attendee portal to get all the slides. No need to write down lots of stuff. This is content rich. Almost every slide that I give you is going to have lots and lots of information on it. But there's plenty of time for us to talk about things. So please don't hesitate to jump into the chat. If you have a question about something, go ahead and do that. As soon as I see a chat message pop up, we'll dive into it. We have a small group and we have plenty of time to do that. So I want to make sure that all of your questions get answered. So this is just a small taste of Sequoia Fund's tech journey. Way back, we've always sent out emails. We've always done a video here and there, and occasionally we would do a Zoom meeting or something, but we were not really deep diving into tech until COVID hit. And then this little thing you may have heard of called PPP loans came out. And while Sequoia Fund didn't do the PPP loans, we didn't issue those, we became Information Central. So a lot of people had questions about the PPP loans, and we wanted to make sure that the community had answers. So we would take what the SBA sent us, we would take what other organizations sent us, and we would compile this and we would send it out in an email. And crickets, no response. Nobody was reading the emails. And so one day I just decided I was going to take the content of this email and I'm going to do a video. I'm going to just read it exactly the way it is in the email. I'm going to do a talking head video and send it out to everybody. And the response was amazing. People wouldn't take 3 minutes to read an email, but they would take 10 minutes or 12 minutes and watch a video. Well, there's a reason for that. I'm going to talk about that, but we started to see that our engagement with people was much higher when we did videos. Even when we had employees who were not comfortable being on video, when they did a video, people paid attention, people engaged with it. We would send it out through our social media. We'd send it out through email. Every channel that we had, we would just put these videos in front of people and they loved them. Now, this is, I have a face made for radio and a voice made for Braille, and yet people still responded. So bottom left corner, you'll see one of our local businesses, tattoo artist. One of the things that we started to do was a social media campaign that we called Live with Sequoia Fund. We started going into businesses, talking to them, doing interviews with them, trying to show them some love because they were so busy trying to keep their heads above water. They weren't really thinking about marketing. And we said, well, we've got nothing but time. Let's throw a little marketing power their way. And so we would do these Instagram stories. We would do Instagram and Facebook posts. We would do little video vignettes and things, and we would start to post these, and people loved it. And so we would go into like the tattoo parlor, their tattoo shop, and he would just show us around. He would give us the grand tour. And we had customers who said, hey, why don't you take pictures of me getting my tattoo and things like that. So people loved it. The bottom middle there is General and Utah Grant. They turned his silversmith shop and their jewelry store. He makes wampum jewelry. He's the only certified silversmith in the Eastern Band of Cherokee Indians and one of the few on the East Coast. And I think 2 of the others are his sons. So the guy's super talented, but he saw an opportunity here because he makes his own diesel fuel and he makes other kinds of fuel. And he was already had all this alcohol, and he went to the tribe and said, would you give me permission to make hand sanitizer? And they said, as long as you're not drinking it, we don't care what you do with the alcohol. So go for it. He turned his entire complex into a massive processing center for hand sanitizer. And the name of his business is Traditional Hands. And he said, look, I want to make good medicine for my people. I want this to be everywhere. So now it's in the casino, it's in the retail stores, it's in surrounding towns. Anybody who has a conference or an office and they need hand sanitizer, this is your guy. And he's selling it in a lot of different varieties, but he made that pivot and nobody would have known about it had he not been able to get the word out. And so we helped them with that digital message. Top left, some of you may recognize Sean Spruce, AKA Dr. Per Cap. Sean has been a financial educator for many, many years. And occasionally Sean and I just get together and do a live stream and we have a lot of fun. We talk about Bitcoin. We talk about digital lawsuits and things that are happening in the digital world, and things that revolve around money. And we just have a lot of fun with it. And sometimes those live streams are 30 minutes, sometimes they're an hour, but we get together and do these and just engage people with that. He sends it out through his digital channels. We do it through ours as well. Bottom right, live with Sequoia Fund. The Cherokee Boys Club has been around for over 60 years. Nobody knew that they had their own building department. They do construction and facilities maintenance and all kinds of things. They do home repairs, they do roofs, they put on decks and siding and you name it, large and small remodeling jobs. And when COVID hit, they realized that they needed to expand that stream of income to keep that nonprofit viable. And so here I am doing a live stream. We streamed this out on Facebook and YouTube just to talk about what that is and how they can benefit the community. And they got a lot of response out of that as well. Now, the top right picture is one of our clients. One of the things that we started doing was periodically, we just have a gift giveaway where we ask people to send in pictures of their pets, send in a funny picture of your pets, send in a picture of your kids doing something funny. Send us a picture of your favorite this or that. Show us a picture of your motorcycle or your car. Send us something. And we're gonna pick the one we like the most, and we're gonna give you something. And so they come by the office, we take pictures of them receiving their gift or their gift pack, and we just splash it all over social media. And it really is for us a way to engage the community with images of the community, to talk to the community about things that are going on in the community. Because if we sat in front of a camera and just said, Sequoia Fund, Sequoia Fund, Sequoia Fund, here's what we're doing, here's how we lend money, here's all the loan products, people would tune out. They don't want to listen to that. So this gives us an opportunity to show some love to the community and engage them in a digital way. And we look at digital marketing as a 3D effort. There's digital visibility, digital reach, and dynamic storytelling. Digital visibility is making sure you're in places where people want to see information about you. So if you're driving down a busy highway, maybe you're on an interstate, the types of billboards you're going to see are McDonald's, Burger King. It's going to be fast food. It's going to be hotels, because people who drive get hungry and they get sleepy. But you're not necessarily going to advertise for a McDonald's off of an interstate exit in the yellow pages. You want to make sure that you are putting your message where people want to see it, where they're looking for you. And so for us, digital visibility is all about Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. We gave up on Twitter a long time ago. We just found that there was no engagement there. Now you might find it different where you are. You might discover that people really want to see you on Twitter. They want to follow you on Twitter, and that's fine. You might discover that you have some real TikTok talent in your office. Hey, make the most of that TikTok talent. Have those people produce some funny videos. Have them produce some videos for your clients. Do some outreach with that. Snapchat as well. Look, I've got way too much gray in my beard to get Snapchat. My kids get it, and a lot of our clients get it. And now we have a 22-year-old who's running our digital marketing, and she gets it. So I'm sure there's a Sequoia Fund Snapchat in our future somewhere. So the visibility is be where they expect you to be. Digital reach is make sure you reach them with a message that connects. And the way you do that is through storytelling. It's really important that we keep the focus on the story. There's no better way to tell a story than through video, because our brains are wired for video. How many generations now have we been watching television? There have been talkies, movies, since the early 30s, since the late 20s even. So for generations, our entertainment has come through voice and pictures in front of us. But we all know that storytelling history, that storytelling model goes way back, way further back than the original talkie films, right? We pass on history. We pass on family knowledge through story. And video is perfectly suited to do that because it connects with us visually, auditorily, and emotionally. There are more ways than ever to consume video. In fact, more people are watching Twitter videos today than ever before. You may watch your videos on LinkedIn. You may watch videos on YouTube. Chances are you have. 75% of people surveyed said that they have watched or regularly watch videos in public restrooms. So there you have it. If you start to hear music or crowd noises or speaking from the stall next to you, you know it's somebody watching video, and you'll have your anecdotal proof of that. But today, you don't just have to watch television or go to the movies. You can watch it on YouTube. You can watch video on Facebook. You can watch TikTok, Instagram stories. There are so many different ways to watch video. And you can watch video anywhere. I mean, again, if you can watch it in a bathroom stall, you can watch it anywhere. Video is great for call to action. So CDFIs, we always have a call to action. I want people to go to our website. I want to take them away from these rented properties called social media, because we don't own those properties. If you don't pay for it, it's not yours. You are the product. So we don't pay for Facebook. Facebook gets our data. That's how we pay for Facebook. Same thing with YouTube. It's a free channel, but we still pay because of our eyeballs, the way we're glued to these things, and how we watch the video and how we consume video and what patterns. And so I don't want people spending more time than necessary on Facebook when they see something relevant to Sequoia Fund or something that Sequoia Fund has put out that's relevant to them. I want to give them a reason to come and get more information on our website. I want to do a call to action. Like this, click this, share this, follow this, subscribe to us, subscribe to our email list, go to our website and find out more. I want to bring them over to the mothership. I want to get them on the website, because that's not rented property. That's property that we own, and we can just do more with it. And there's no better way. There's no better digital connection for establishing relationships than video, because we're talking to people. We're looking them in the eye. We're having a conversation. We're entertaining them. We're informing them. We're evoking some sort of emotion. We're doing something that is building a relationship. So I want you to think about maybe some of the channels you follow on YouTube, some of the people, maybe you follow a band, or you follow some music acts on YouTube, or you follow somebody who is a professional in the same hobby or the same space you're in. Maybe you're into woodworking and you follow people who are really good woodworkers and you want to learn from them. Well, after you follow them for a while, don't you feel like you have some sort of relationship with them? Don't you feel like you know them? When they tell you about their personal lives, don't you feel like they know you too? That's a relationship. Even though they would never know you in an airport or a Walmart or a grocery store, you would recognize them. And so being able to form relationships is just one of the best reasons to dive into video. And there are different uses for video. The top three are in boldface, because these are the primary ways Sequoia Fund uses video. We do a lot of how-to videos. I'm going to show you some technology at the end of the presentation so that you can use technology to do how-to videos and never even have to be on the screen. So if you're camera shy, if you're not used to being on camera, if you're not comfortable being on camera, there are ways for you to do great videos and never have to show your face. How-to videos are also good in order to position you or your organization as the resource, the professionals, the experts at what you do. So in Cherokee, people know us for our lending. Again, we were too small. A lot of us were too small to do the PPP loans. But who else are they going to turn to for information? So even though we weren't doing PPP, we were walking people through the application process. We were walking them through the preparation process. We wanted them to have the understanding they needed to be able to apply. Talking head or explainer videos, interview videos, these are super easy. If you just look at the video of me talking, you're not looking at the shared screen, the slide deck. This is a talking head video. Anytime you're just facing a camera and talking, it's a talking head video. believe it or not, this is one of the least sexy ways of doing a video, but it works really well because people consume video where they would not normally read an email. And when we had something to get out in a hurry, we'd put a camera up, we'd stand in front of it, we'd do a video. Boom, we'd throw that content out and the engagement was through the roof. Explainer videos, if you have a new loan product and you want to talk to people about this, and we're in the process of doing this right now with a new auto lending program. And we're also getting ready to take over the tribe's housing portfolio. And we'll be servicing that portfolio. Well, we've got to do an explainer video to tell people how this process works. What are the steps? Who do you need to talk to? When you have a question, here's who you talk to. Let's put their face on there. Let's let you be introduced to the new people who are going to service your loan, because now we're moving that from tribal housing over to Sequoia Fund. Interviews are a lot of fun. And it's not spelled Inverview because I'm a great interviewer, but I'm a terrible speller. But interviews are a lot of fun because you can start out with a basic framework of a topic that you want to cover, and then you can just roll with it, especially if you have somebody who you're familiar with, who you have a good rapport with, and you can just have a conversation. When you get used to the notion that this is just a conversation, it makes things flow so much better. So if you've ever watched an interview on television where somebody is very uncomfortable with the person they're interviewing, it shows. Versus somebody like a Barbara Walters or somebody who does interviews all the time, who's very comfortable with it and can just have that conversation. And maybe we veer off topic a little bit, but that's okay because they're practiced enough to bring it back around where it needs to be. Now, some of the short videos that we've done, and we've done these for our website. We've done these for different aspects of our website, just an announcement video, a welcome video, or an invitation video. These can be as short as 30 seconds. They do not have to be long. If we're running a live event, which thank goodness we're starting to, in North Carolina anyway, starting to see some live events, we can do an invitation for a live event in video now. But we were doing invitations to online courses, to our Wednesday webinars. We do a lunch and learn every Wednesday on a different topic. And so sometimes we would do the video invitation. If we got a really hot topic that we know people are going to love, a quick 30-second video, email that out. And again, engagement goes through the roof. Now, there are also things like chronicles or serials, which is just every video builds on the one before it. If you've ever watched a soap opera, you know what I'm talking about. If you've ever seen the Marvel movies, you know what I'm talking about, because everyone builds on the one before it. Now, the beautiful thing about this is for our clients, we don't have to tell them everything we know in a 15-minute video. We can do a series of 3 5-minute videos, or even 5 3-minute videos. Leave them wanting a little bit more and say, okay, for the next thing, come back to our Facebook page tomorrow. We're going to give you part 2 of this 5-part series. It's a way to keep people engaged, and people love it, especially if you have a complex topic that you need to break down. Maybe it's a new loan product. Maybe you're doing something in financial literacy or youth entrepreneurship that you've never done before. And this is a great way to lead people down that path without overwhelming them in one big video. One of the rules of thumb is if you put a video out there in the universe, don't take it down. It doesn't matter if everybody loves it. It doesn't matter if everybody hates it or if everybody just thinks it's okay. Leave it, because the algorithms love video that's been there for a long time. And it says that you have a history with them. You can do an update to a video that's out of date. Maybe you had an event and you want to come back 2 weeks later and talk about how successful this event was. Maybe it was a fundraiser or something. Don't take that video down. Do an update to that video and link the old video to the new update. Let people know that, oh, there's some new information here. You don't want that video to go away. Now, here's something that's a little bit dangerous, but it can get you noticed. Opinions and contrarian videos. Contrarian just means, hey, conventional wisdom says that we should be doing it this way. Well, we're going to tell you why we do it the other way. We don't do it that way, and there's a reason. Look, as native CDFIs, we are by nature contrarian because the world thinks in banking terms, right? The world thinks in terms of how banks do business. And so when they think about lending, when they think about borrowing, they think about banks. We can come in and say,
Right there.
there's a different way to do that. FAQs.
And then
If
sign
you
in, phone
have,
number,
um,
time and date. And simply
let's
yes.
see. If you have a lot of information to cover, and you get some complex questions, maybe it's about PPP, maybe it's about what is this new ARP, the American Rescue Plan? Is our tribe going to get any of that money? Or are you going to be able to help us access some of that? You can go in and do an FAQ. And yes, I'll admit, we have the long, boring drop-down FAQs on our website, and they're there for a reason. But if we have something that we think a lot of people need to know and it needs to go out in a different way, we'll do an FAQ video. Live events. Oh, they're coming back. I don't know if I mentioned this, but we want to get video of live events. We want to get video of celebrations, even if it is just something that you're doing in your office. Maybe you're celebrating a birthday. Maybe you're celebrating an anniversary of when you opened that office or moved into that office, or your CDFI started, or somebody's work anniversary or somebody's birthday. Take videos of those things. Don't just take still pictures, take videos, because those can go on your social media, and videos get lots more engagement. And I'm going to talk about how to do that and make sure that you're getting the right kind of engagement so that people pay attention, people share it, people like it, and people start clicking things, because that's what we want them to do. We want them to be all clicky and so forth. All right. Client spotlights. I've shown you just a few of the things that we do with our client spotlights. But when you turn the camera on them and say, this is all about you, this is here to help you. We want to get the word out about what you do. We want to talk to everybody about your business and the amazing things you're doing here. They love it. Now they may be scared to death of being on camera. They may be unsure of what to say. This is what a blooper reel is for, and it's perfectly okay. But don't ever be afraid to say, we're going to take one day a week and go out and visit our clients. And we're going to do videos on them. We're going to showcase them. We're going to highlight what they do. We're going to show everybody a tour of their store or their office or their workshop or whatever. They're great. Spontaneous videos. Look, everybody has a cell phone. If you have a cell phone, even if you have, and I don't know if you still have me on your little screen in the corner, but if you have one of these old flip phones, okay, you have a camera. Yes, I still have a flip phone. Please don't judge. It's there for a reason. But you have a great camera if you have a smartphone that was built in the last 5-6 years. So you can always take a spontaneous video. If you're meeting with a client and that client says something to you, like one of our clients did, and it's actually on YouTube. He leaned over the desk and he said, I don't know what I would do without Sequoia Fund. Our little business would not be here today if Sequoia Fund hadn't stepped in and helped us out. And, I'm welling up because it meant so much to me that he thought that, a lot of people just want their money. They want to get their check, head to the bank and get out of there. And he was very sincere. He said, I've got 11 employees and none of them would be employed by us if it weren't for Sequoia Fund. And I grabbed my phone and I held it up and I said, Steve, say that again. And of course, then he puts on a production, but he did say it again. And that's the kind of spontaneous video that you don't want to let it escape. Take that video and let people tell in their own words what they think of you. People will surprise you. People will amaze you in the moment. And don't be afraid of recording yourself as a spontaneous video. If you're driving down the road and you see something that you say, you know what, our clients need to hear about this. Our community needs to hear about this. I've got an insight that I don't want to lose. Put your camera on the dash or hold it up and start talking. Don't take your eyes off the road. Okay. Disclaimer, watch the road, be a good driver, but take a video. Video yourself in the moment and let people see the benefit of that, because you may forget what you were thinking about. We always think we'll remember this later. I'll do this later. And it never happens, right? So be spontaneous. Don't be afraid of that. Okay. Another thing that I know a lot of you are doing, you're doing blog posts, you're doing local articles for your newspaper, you're doing speeches, you're doing maybe podcast interviews, maybe you're being a guest on somebody else's podcast. Maybe you're offering training courses. You're putting things out there that you're typing into your social posts and your comments. If you you've seen this, I know you have, because you've seen somebody whose comment brought insight or clarity to the original post. You've seen somebody whose comment on a social post was better than the original post itself. Well, if that's you, take what you wrote in that post and turn it into a short video. You're doing email promotions. You're doing live events. Don't reinvent the wheel. Any of these things can be turned into video content. And if you do a video, that video can then be turned into a blog post or a social post or a series of social posts. You might do a video that you say, wow, there's a lot of need for this. Maybe we should expand this and turn it into a mini training course. Let's do a little course on how to get ready for the next big federal disaster application or whatever, because a lot of small businesses are just not ready for that. So think about the things you're doing now that you're producing content for. Could that also be a video? Answer is yes. I can't see you, but I want everybody doing your head up and down just like this. Yeah, it is possible to do that. And it's not only possible, it's almost a requirement today that you be in a lot of different places and a lot of different formats, because that is your digital visibility. Your digital reach and your digital visibility. Boy, say that 10 times fast. Digital visibility. Because you want to reach people where they are and where they're looking for your information. I'm going to go through just some very simple tenets of good video production. And the first thing I'll tell you is, if you're not used to doing video and you're not comfortable doing video, get your kids, get your grandkids, get your neighbor kids, get somebody to help you create a TikTok account, a Snapchat account, an Instagram account. You can do Instagram stories. Yeah, you don't have to have any followers. You can put these little short bursts of video out into the universe and they'll go away in 24 hours. You can shoot videos on your phone and never show it to anyone. But the key is to get comfortable looking at that little camera and practicing. And just keep it simple. Simple is better. In fact, we found that people who, as time goes on and they get more following and they get better at what they do, when they increase their production value and their production expense, their followership is not as engaged. People don't follow them as often. Maybe the follower growth doesn't increase that much. People are looking for authenticity. They want to see the real you. They want to see the real unvarnished organization that you represent. They want to see your messy office. It's okay. Now, yeah, you should probably move the stuff with client names and information on it, but they don't care that there's a pile of files behind your desk. If you have something good to say, go ahead and say it. Keep it simple. Good video is good. And again, I'm going to go back to this. Audio is a must. If you need to get a lavalier mic that hooks onto your shirt collar that you can plug into your phone, if you need to get a little handheld mic, you can do those. You can get those for anywhere from $15 to $50. They're not expensive. And it plugs right into your phone and you can talk into it like the man on the street interviews. And when you do that, it's going to give you that good audio quality, that rich audio quality that you need. Always try to produce evergreen content. Now, all this means is that if you're recording this a week after the Super Bowl, don't mention the Super Bowl. It's really simple. You can have a video where you talk about the Super Bowl and how your team lost or how your team won or how your team was cheated or whatever. You can have that conversation. But what happens is, let's say you've got 5 minutes of really solid content that is timeless. Maybe it's on cash flow projections or break-even analysis. And that's good stuff. But at the very beginning of the video, you say, before we dive into this, did you see that Super Bowl game this weekend? And you talk about the teams that played, and all of a sudden, you've dated your video. Yes, the video date is right below it. People can access the video date, but they don't ever look at that. What they're looking at is the content. And if you say something about the Super Bowl and they're watching it 3 years after, they're going to assume that your video, your content is now 3 years out of date. So just avoid dating yourself with the evergreen content. Now, you also need a relevant thumbnail and a title. I'm not going to dig into this because there are YouTube channels out there, entire channels dedicated to creating a good thumbnail and a good title for your video. Think about how you surf for videos. Think about how you click on a video as you're scrolling through Twitter or Instagram or Facebook or even YouTube. You're going to look for a little picture, that thumbnail that captures your attention. And you're going to look for the title of the video that seems most relevant to the question you have, or the issue you have, or the thing you want to learn. So I'm going to give you a website. I'm going to give you an add-on that at the end of this, when we start talking about technology, that you can use to help you create good titles for your video. You can have all the great content in the world, but if it doesn't get noticed and if people don't actually click on it to watch it, then it doesn't matter. Here's something fun. Try doing everything in one take. What we're doing right now, this is one take. I don't get a second chance at this. Yeah, I'm going to re-record it just in case there are tech glitches. But if I do something wrong, if I stumble over my words, if I fall backward in this chair that has tried to flip me 3 times now, I don't get a do-over. This is live and we're doing it in one take. That's a lot of fun. If you can shoot everything in one take, it shortens the time that it takes you to produce a video. It looks more real. It's more authentic. People dig that. So just try it. Now, I'm going to show you in a few minutes, I'm going to show you a picture of the setup that I have here in this big conference room in this hotel. But you'll also notice that the lighting, I've got the old fluorescent lights right over my head. And if I turn off this little tiny light in front of me, you can see a difference. It gets a little grayer, but you want to have some good lighting, and good lighting does not take a lot of money. In fact, good lighting doesn't have to cost you anything. Script out what you're going to say. Never wing it. Unless it's a spontaneous video and it's right there on the top of your head. But if you're doing a video on how to access a new loan program that you're starting, you don't want to wing it. You want to have your bullet points lined out. You want to be able to talk about things in a very logical sequence, and you want to make sure that you convey everything. And this is not about rambling. This is about missing something that maybe needs to be included. So make sure you script everything out. And there's also science behind this, that the process of writing something out, this is why I write all of my scripts by hand. When you write it out, there's a hardwired connection between your brain and your hand. And when you write that stuff down, you don't even have to memorize the words. Now it's going to be more natural. It's going to be more comfortable that you can talk about it on camera because you wrote it and it went straight from the paper through your hand into your brain. Practice looking into the camera. Now, this is a tough one. I'm going to tell a little story on my wife. She knows I tell this story. I have her permission. She's not going to rain fire down on me for this, but every family photo that we have, she's looking over here, over to the side. And the reason she's looking to the side is she's looking at herself on the screen. It takes practice to look at that tiny dot on the very edge of your screen. Some cameras now will have a little red dot or a little green dot that indicates this is where you should look. That doesn't mean everybody's going to be practiced in looking at that. So practice looking at that little dot. Practice looking at the camera on your computer. When you talk to somebody, let's say the next time you have a Skype meeting with your family or a Zoom call with your kids or the Zoom meeting at work, practice looking at the camera even when other people are talking. Now, what's cool about that is if I'm looking at the camera while you're talking to me, who does it look like I'm looking at? I'm looking at you. That's establishing a connection. That's a relationship builder. And while I'm not seeing you, I'll glance down at you on the screen every now and then, but I want to look at the camera, because now it looks to you like I'm looking at you. We're eye to eye. That takes practice. Be you. Everybody else is taken. I think that was a Yogi Berra. I may have missed the mark on that one, but be you. Be real. Be authentic. Don't try to be something you're not. I've seen people who, I'm a mountain hick from North Carolina. I've got this accent that I just can't shake, and I've become very comfortable with it over the years. But I've heard people who sound a lot like me get on camera, and all of a sudden they go, "Today we'll be talking about," and they completely change the way they talk. Nobody wants to hear that. They want to hear the real you. They want to see you because you're the value. You're the person who has something to say. The sweet spot on videos, and this is the beauty of this, it doesn't have to be more than 3 to 5 minutes. That's the sweet spot. It can be as short as 20 to 30 seconds. But if it goes much over 5 minutes, you might want to rethink how you structure it. We live in a Twitter world. I remember thinking when Twitter went from 140 characters to 280 character limit, I thought, nobody's going to read that. Nobody has the time to read 280 characters. That's crazy. Twitter was built on 140 characters. If you want absolute incontrovertible proof that people don't have a long attention span, look at some of the arguments people have on social media. They argue about something that they clearly only read the headline to. They did not read the article. They did not watch the video. They don't have the content. And sometimes later on in the argument, they'll admit, yeah, I didn't read this. Why do people want to do that? But they do. Keep it short, keep it real. Just remember, you don't have to include everything. Trust me, we're here for an hour and a half today. I could be here for 3 hours. You're not getting everything. You don't have to include everything. You don't have to tell everything you know. You can back that down into bite-sized chunks to help people in more digestible ways than throwing the whole kitchen sink at them. For every video, no matter how long or how short, you want to have some sort of format that you can follow that adds some consistency to what you do. Every good video has a hook or a headline. How to apply for a PPP loan. Here's the breakdown of the American Rescue Plan funds for our tribe. Okay. You answer a question with that hook or that headline. You want to talk to people about what's on their mind. You want to get them related to the things that they're thinking about right there and right then. You need some branding. You'll see that on the screen, I've put Sequoia Fund's logo. I have Sequoia Fund after my screen name. In my little video, I'm wearing a Sequoia Fund shirt. When we do the live with Sequoia Funds or Sequoia Fund Live now, I have a mic flag that has the Sequoia Fund logo on it. I've got computers with the Sequoia Fund logo. You want that logo, you want your brand everywhere so that people understand where this is coming from and they know how to get in touch with you if they want to contact you. It needs an introduction. You have to have something that gets people's attention. And that introduction is basically telling them what you're going to tell them. The body content, again, no more than 3 to 5 minutes, and then a call to action. If you enjoyed this video, please click below to subscribe to our video and click the bell every time there's a new video. You're going to get notified, and stay tuned till the next time. For now, click on the link in the description, go to our website and find out more about this new whatever. Okay. Give them a call to action. Let people know what those next steps are. Because especially in YouTube, what will happen is that the video ends and 12 other videos pop up. And now they've got a decision to make. Do they follow you to where you said to go? Or do they just click on that cartoon or that video? Do I want to go watch this guy play guitar with his feet? Or you've got to keep them engaged. And that's what the call to action does. Now, the end card is essentially just an information piece that sits at the very end of the video for a while so that people can see your contact information. In fact, the last slide in this deck is what I would say is an end card. It just tells people how to contact us. We also look at creating a content calendar. Because if you don't create a content calendar, a couple of things are going to happen. Number one, no videos will ever be produced. No digital content will ever go out, whether it's an email, newsletter, or a video, anything else. You've got to create a calendar because we live and die by our calendars. And if it gets on the calendar, it gets done. My wife knows this better than anybody. People at Sequoia Fund know that if they want something done, don't go to Russ and talk to him about it. Don't send Russ an email. Go to Russ's calendar and put it on the calendar, and then it will get done. So they've got my number. They know how to get me where they want me. But we create a content calendar so that we know when we're doing certain things. So on Tuesdays, I'll sit down, I'll carve out time on the calendar to sit down, and we'll write out scripts, or we'll at least write out outlines of what we want to cover. What types of content do we want to do? Do we want to do customer spotlights? Do we want to do interview videos? What are the things that we want to do? We'll just go ahead and script those out. We'll pick a Friday. Fridays are a great day to shoot videos because not a lot's going on a Friday. Especially Eastern Band just this week went from a 4-day week to a 5-day week. So Fridays were wide open. Sequoia Fund, we had the whole building to ourselves. We could get in there and video. We could do whatever. I could video at home, in the backyard, you name it. But we video on one day and it's done. And then we edit those videos and we send those videos out in a measured release. And so maybe every Monday, I'm not sure what kind of schedule we're working on right now, but I think right now we're videoing our interviews on Tuesdays, releasing them on Thursdays because there's not a lot of editing that goes on there. But again, just by having that content calendar together so that we know what's going to happen when, make sure that things happen. Make sure that it gets done. Now, there's only so good this face can look on camera, but if you want to look good on camera, take a hint from Lucille Ball. I'm going to stop here for just a second. Anybody want to jump in the chat and tell me what episode this is from? Does anybody remember this episode of I Love Lucy? While I'm waiting on that, I got a question here from Lisa. Do you ask for volunteers from your clients, or do they sign an agreement to be in a video? How do you recruit your clients for your videos? Okay, great question. Let me go ahead and jump on that. And Heather wins the day. It's Vitamita Vegemin. Yeah, the more she drank, the drunker she got, and the better the video got. Yeah, 10 points for Heather. Okay, so yes, we do ask for volunteers. We just call people up and say, hey, can we show up at your hair salon? What's a good day for us to come by and do a site visit? And we want to take pictures. We want a video. We want to get a little story. We want to engage you, get your story and get it out there. And some people don't, they're absolutely adamant. They do not want to do video, but they're perfectly okay just doing pictures and a story. So we'll do a narrative and that's okay too. I have a form. So when we get to the end and you have access to my email address, I want you to send me an email and ask me for my interview agreement. It's not a legal agreement, but when people say, yes, I'll do it, we send this out to let people know that here's how we're going to use this. We're not going to start an OnlyFans. We're not going to send it to the 11 o'clock news and do an expose on your business. This is why we're doing this. And here's how we're going to use it. And we also give them access to it. I want them to be able to have it to put on their YouTube channel, their Facebook page, their LinkedIn, their Instagram. I want them to be able to use it as well. So everybody gets a copy of their videos, their photos, and everything else. But yes, anytime you're going to video people, you want to make sure that you've got something in writing that says, yeah, I'm okay with that. And if you have a recurring guest, if you have somebody who maybe either works with you, works for you, works alongside you, they're a stakeholder, maybe a board member or a community member, and it's a recurring guest, you don't have to do that every time. They know the drill. But those are great questions. We've done interviews with children before. That's touchy. We back in 2018, we ran one Camp Girl Boss. In 2019, we ran 10 Camp Girl Bosses across Western North Carolina. 2020, we were going to run 100 girl boss camps across the US, and COVID hit. So we had to back up and do that digitally. So we created a digital course for Camp Girl Boss. It was a 9-week summer camp for girls age 10 to 13. And the cool thing is these girls were doing some really amazing things with their small businesses. We had Instagram influencers. We had crafts people. We had kids who were doing manufacturing, authors, video content creators, service providers. We had all kinds of businesses, girls 10 to 13, and they love doing videos. So the director of our camp, one of our female board members, started to do live stream videos with these girls once a week, and we'd have them sign, you know, their parents and their guardians would have to sign and say, yes, it's okay. And we get to review this, and we have to be there to make sure. And of course, there were standard questions that we sent everybody, and it was basically tell us a little bit about your business, and then the girls just took off, and 30 minutes later, their story was done. It was great. But yeah, if you're going to be videoing anything where there are minors, you want to make sure that you have release forms. But that's an easy thing to do. When we have our youth camp in the summer, part of the registration form is you have to click here and say it's okay for your kids to be videoed and photographed. And here's exactly how we use this. We will never sell these photos or videos to any third party. We will never use it for this, that, or the other thing. And we've got exactly how we use it. And we've never had a parent decline to sign that. So if you send me an email after we're done, I will send you a copy of that form so that you can see it. So did that answer your question, Lisa? I want to make sure it did. The email is russiegel@sequoiafund.org. It'll be at the tail end. I'll go ahead and type it in here. We got a little time, so it's okay. You don't have to be a professionally trained actor or a professionally trained news anchor to look good on camera. And I even hesitate to say look good because, I mean, look at this face. This can't look good. This can only look as good as it gets. I can be as good as I can be on camera. But there are certain limitations that we'd have to deal with here. And the three things that you have to remember is presence, posture, preparedness. Presence, posture, and preparedness. So I'm sitting in a chair. I'm leaning, and trust me, this chair is not easy to lean forward in. It wants to throw me all the way back. But I could lean back, I could slouch, but that's not an engaging presence. That's not a presence that you would want to sit and listen to or watch for a while, even 3 to 5 minutes. So my presence has to be on, my presence has to be engaging. I'm using my hands. For those of you who still have me in the little screen, I'm using my hands. I want to make gestures to make points, and posture. I want to sort of lean into the camera, watch the newscasts some night and watch people who are doing maybe a story in front of the courthouse or a tribal council house or in front of a place that's just had a car wreck or a school board meeting that went off the rails. They're always sort of leaning into the camera because that posture helps people pay more attention. Preparedness, I can't talk about preparedness enough. Preparedness is more than just knowing what you're going to say. Preparedness is knowing exactly what kind of format you're using and how are you going to deal with any kind of eventuality. We're going to talk about tech gremlins, and I'm going to talk to you about how I dealt with the very setting that I'm in today. And so you want to be prepared with your technology. You want to be prepared with your content, and you want to be prepared with your surroundings. All those things matter. So one guy who never worried about looking great on camera was Kramer on Seinfeld, but he had a presence. He had a very definite presence about him on camera. So I've already talked about look at the camera unless it's an interview. Now I've seen interviews, and I'm sure you have too, where somebody is talking to an interviewer and all of a sudden they start to look at the camera and they're talking to the interviewer and their words become very stilted like this because they're trying to focus on what they want to say, but they can't believe they're looking into the camera. Holy crap, I'm looking into the camera. I'm scared to death now. And it happens all the time. If somebody's interviewing you, if you're interviewing somebody, if you're sitting in two chairs and you're facing each other, just talk to each other. People are perfectly fine watching a conversation. You can shoot things in small bursts and piece it together. You don't have to do an entire 15-minute video and then break it apart. You can shoot small 1 minute, 30-second bursts even and piece them together. If you want to just look at the camera and start talking and have the words right there in front of you, you can buy or build a teleprompter. Teleprompter is a brand name like Xerox or like Kleenex. It's a brand name, and some of the teleprompters out there can run into the thousands or even tens of thousands of dollars. You can go on YouTube and you can look at how to build one from the things you can pick up at Walmart for about 30, 35 bucks. And then you can put your camera behind the teleprompter and just read it. You can put the words on a teleprompter app on your phone or on your tablet, and it will just reverse the words, and it works. It's great. Get used to it though. Get used to using a teleprompter before you use it. And in fact, there are a couple of teleprompter apps that I use. I use Teleprompter and Teleprompt Pro. There's an app called Parrot. I've never paid for a teleprompter app, but I've got one and it scrolls the words up right beside your camera. And so you can just read the words and it looks like you're looking at your camera, and you can just do all your video right there on your phone. Super simple. And a lot of those are free. No need to spend any money. Now, I mentioned the blooper reel a minute ago. If you mess up, if you trip over your words, it's okay. It's fine. Finish your sentence and start again. You need to be a goldfish. When you're videoing and you're recording video, be a goldfish. Goldfish has a 4-second memory. You mess up, start all over. It's no big deal. What happens though, is that people sometimes stand in front of the camera and they get into a tongue twister and they stop and they're like, I can't believe it. I can't believe I messed up. I can't. And they throw up their hands and they maybe dance around a little bit, and nobody cares. Nobody cares that you messed up. You do, but you have to fight the urge to let it show. Let it go. If you mess up, just go, take a deep breath, start all over. Give yourself a little room to clip out the piece that you messed up and keep moving. Don't dwell on it. You need to, not only be a goldfish. I used to tell my nephew this when he played soccer. If a ball got by him, he was a keeper, and if the ball got by him, he used to just beat himself up, and he would flail around and he would punch his fist in the air, and I can't believe it. And I said, you got to get right back in the box. You got to get right back in there and get ready to defend again, because you don't have all day. The ball's going to get by you again if you dwell on that. So keep moving. And the more you do this, the better you practice. The more you practice, the better you're going to get. It's going to become like second nature to you. What I do in my videos, if I'm reading something or if I'm looking at the video and I say something wrong, if I trip over my words, I will stop and I will wave my hand in a big circle across the front of the screen, or I'll clap. Now, the reason I do that is in the video, I can see that I wave my hand as I'm screening through it. I go, oh, okay, there's something that I need to clip out. If I'm watching the audio line and I see the little squiggly lines for the audio, and I see 3 big spikes in regular motion or regular pattern, what that says is, oh, I've said something wrong. I'm going to go back and I'm going to clip that out. And I'm not sure what a dead it is. I just see that I made another I made another spelling boo-boo. Okay, well, we're just gonna clap our hands and move on. All right, the video formatting. I'm gonna go back just a second to the video calendar that you're gonna do, the content creation calendar. You want to do that so that you can start to build a format for your videos. You want to have a very consistent intro, a very consistent middle, and a very consistent outro, something that gives familiarity to people. You want to establish a rhythm, and that familiarity says, oh, okay, they're not just winging it. They really do have a little format here, and that makes sense. Your format is the skeleton. You need to follow that. If you have a little jingle that you put in, maybe you have a customer testimonial that you want to put in before your video ends. You talk about this new loan program we're doing housing rehab loans, and here's why you should come and see us about a housing rehab loan. And at the end of that, and every one of those videos, I've got somebody doing a little 30-second snippet about what they use the money for to improve their home. And then the video ends. And if you do that, you've got this little format that you follow every single time. And again, it builds consistency. You want to know that somewhere in The Price is Right, they're going to have that wheel that everybody spins. You want to know that when you're watching Jeopardy, they're going to have Final Jeopardy. If they ever skipped Final Jeopardy, I think the whole world would have a collective aneurysm. And so you want to have something that every single time it follows this same flow, and people get used to that. So let's spend some time now talking about technology. This is where we're going to spend a lot of time on this one slide here. And I'm more than happy to take any questions. Again, don't be shy about jumping into the chat and talking to me about this. I'm going to talk about the stuff that's in the list first, because some of these we want to dwell on, and some of these you might be very familiar with. Zoom, I think we're using Zoom right now. We've all used Zoom throughout the year. And Zoom is a great platform. In fact, you may already be subscribing to Zoom, but you don't have to subscribe to Zoom to create video. If you just want to do a talking head video, you can use the free version of Zoom. And you can record yourself sitting right there on screen, or you can take a camera and record yourself. But Zoom makes it super easy to do talking head videos or interview videos. And you just record that like we're doing right now. You capture that and you've got it. What I recommend is that you go ahead and record those in the cloud. Don't record them on your computer because something can happen. Go ahead and record them in the cloud. And when you've used them, when you've distributed that video, you can get rid of it. You can free up your space. But Zoom is one of my all-time favorites. I've used almost every other type of video conferencing software out there. I always come back home to Zoom. I love it. If you have an iPhone or an iMac or a MacBook Air, you have iMovie. It's built in. It's part of your system. It's very intuitive. It's very easy to use. It might be a little learning curve. Go watch a YouTube video. Do a 5-minute tutorial on using iMovie. You'll be an old pro in 10 minutes. Super easy to use. And because it's built in, it's already there. It's free. You don't have to pay anything else to do video editing. In fact, if you wanted to just edit right here on your phone, you can do that. The same thing with Windows Movie Maker. Now, Windows Movie Maker is a little bit more limited, but again, it's built into your PC. It's built into your laptop. You've got it right there. Don't go spending lots of money on Adobe Pro and all this other stuff when the software is there to do what you need to do. I mean, unless you're going to be a documentarian or you're going to start making movies and try to make a living doing that, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I will say that because of the limitations of Windows Movie Maker, if you like Windows Movie Maker and you start to get good at it, you may want to spend I want to say it's $35 to get a subscription to Windows Movie Maker 10 Pro. That's the latest version that's out. And it gives you a little more functionality, a little more flexibility. You can do a few more things. I tend to use both of these. Just depends on what mood I'm in. If I want to put titles up, if I want to put graphics up, I use both of these. Now, Storyblocks, yes, $360 a year, but let me tell you what Storyblocks does for you. When you start to make videos, you're going to find that you need something called B-roll. There's just going to be times when you need a video of a nice blue sky with white fluffy clouds rolling across the top of the video. How long are you willing to stand outside and wait for that to happen? And then how long are you willing to edit so that you can speed that up and make those clouds really roll across the sky? If you need that in your video, or let's say you need video footage of people sitting in front of a computer talking, but you can't get your clients to do that because you don't want to commercialize your clients. You can go to Storyblocks and you can get these little video snippets and these B-roll videos, and you can put those in there. You'll also have access to music. You can do background music. and you'll have access to some photos. Now, the deal with digital outreach is that for some reason, we think if it's on the internet, it's available for us. It's ours. We can use this. And that's not true. You don't want to get in trouble. You don't want to get a takedown notice from your internet provider, from your website host. You don't want to get a notice from one of the social media platforms that you're using copyright material that you're not allowed to use. When you subscribe to these services, it gives you the right to use these. And you can do whatever you want to with them. You can use the music. You can use and every presidential campaign, somebody goes off and uses a band and the band goes, well, I didn't give them permission to use that song. Don't be that person. Go ahead and get something that you subscribe to it. And then you've got access to royalty-free images, video clips, and music. If you do decide to go get your still shots off of Google, make sure you go into the usage rights and click on the usage right that allows you to use this for a nonprofit, for nonprofit use or commercial use, just to make sure you stay out of trouble. But again, $360 a year, yeah, that's a lot of money. But if you start to do this and you start to find yourself needing supplemental video or background music, there's no better place to do it. TubeBuddy. Now, earlier on in the presentation, I said that I'm going to give you some information on how to make sure you're using the best headlines. TubeBuddy will analyze your videos, and it will analyze your videos in light of other videos just like yours. And it will give you recommendations on how to tweak your visuals. It will give you information on how to tweak your title so that you can make the title something people are willing to click on. Gives you a lot of analytics about your YouTube channel, about your YouTube videos and how good they are and how to improve them. TubeBuddy is one of the best tools I've found to help you get better at your game if you're going to do video. Videos is a $65 one-time license fee. If you go to the Sequoia Fund YouTube channel or our Facebook page and you watch any of our live stream videos, our live streams are very, very much like a TV show. I'm on one screen, the person who's being interviewed or talking to me is on the other screen, but we have an intro, we have an outro, we have a little commercial somewhere either in the middle or at the end. And we create those little intros and outros with videos. It gives us the ability to change things very, very quickly, put in new pictures of the person who's in this episode. It's really, really cool. Snagit and Camtasia. Now, I use Snagit. My wife is a math teacher. She uses Camtasia. It's for doing longer form videos, maybe videos where you've got an overhead camera and you're writing things that you want to explain to people. But you don't have to be on camera with either one of these. And Snagit, you can go through TechSoup. If you're not familiar with TechSoup, TechSoup is a software provider for nonprofits. For us, go to TechSoup, look up Snagit, and for a very, very, I think it's a very, very reduced fee, you get a lifetime license on that. We love Snagit. When we started using some different software and I needed to show all of our staff how to use this, I pulled up Snagit, I went through and I did the video. They heard my voice. They watched me walk through the video or through the software, and they never had to see my face, which my staff loves anytime they don't have to see my face. Auphonic. Sometimes you just have to record in front of the train tracks, or sometimes there's a dog outside that's barking, or somebody slams a door next door. Auphonic, you can load your video or your audio into Auphonic. It's absolutely free. Up to a certain, you can do like 2 hours a month, which is crazy. You load your video in there and it runs it through this thing and it scrubs it of all the background noises. So the train in the background, the loud car that drove by, the slamming door, the barking dog, the crying child, all those things are faded out. and it's free. Auphonic is great. Nobody ever gives it any love, but I'm going to give it love today because it deserves it. One of the tools that we use most in our office, and we use it for everything, is Canva. Canva is a way to make you look like you know what you're doing in terms of digital design. It's free. Now, we subscribe to the pro version because we have design elements in there for some of our clients. We're real bad to say yes. I mean, a lot of times clients will come and say, can you design us a business card, or can you design us a t-shirt or a sign? We'll have the t-shirt shop make it, but we need a design. Okay, well, we'll tinker around with it. And so we've got files in there with our clients' logos, with stakeholders' logos, with tribal logos, tribal department logos, and things like that. And so we need all of those color schemes and all those logos to be there. That's why we subscribe, but you don't have to. You don't have to think about how big does this picture need to be for Facebook? How big does this picture need to be if I'm going to put it on LinkedIn? Canva handles all of that for you. And if you're okay with the few limitations that you have with Canva, you can use it forever for free. It's great. I personally use the free version, but for Sequoia Fund, we use the pro. I'm going to start from the bottom of this other list with Biteable. Biteable is the most expensive thing on here. It may not be for you, but I love it. It's one of my favorite toys. We like to make explainer videos. We like to make little commercials for our loan programs. And we've done some commercials. We did commercials for how can we help your business through COVID. We've done commercials for our housing rehab program. We've just done little snippets of things. Biteable helps you create really cool animated and live action digital videos with background music and all kinds of things. And it's absolutely great. I love Biteable. I use it for almost everything. And here's the really cool thing. With TubeBuddy, videos, Canva, and Biteable, when you step up to the plate with those 4 tools, those are tools that you can't be limited to just your own organization. Now you have tools that you can use for your clients. You can use these to make your clients look better. You can use these to, and one of the deals that we make with everybody who does a Sequoia Fund live interview video is we make a very short Biteable promo video that they can use on their social media, put it on their website. We don't care what they do with it, but we do that for them as an added value so that they can take that and go, you know, the interview was last year, but I'm still using this. This is pretty cool. And then we can go in and update them. We can change things and just send it back out to them. So it gives you the ability to be a digital resource for your clients. And if you want to charge for that, hey, go for it. If you want to do it for free, we do it for free for our clients. We've not charged them for anything yet. If somebody comes to us from outside our service area and says, hey, Cherokee Boys Club said you did a great job for this. Can you do this for us? Sure. We'll charge you for that, but not in our area, not in our community, but people love it. They come to us all the time. They say, our church needs a little video for a thing that we're doing for a fundraiser for somebody who has cancer. Well, as somebody who has cancer, maybe one of our clients. Yeah, we're going to do a little video to help get people to that fundraiser. It is expensive. It's $588 a year. I just budget for it now. As of last year, it was one of those things that we said, let's go for it. Let's try it. And we could move some money around because nobody was traveling anymore. So I took some of our travel money. I spent it on that. Now, Bitable's got a line, man. I'm buying Biteable every year from here on out. StreamYard is another one of my favorites. When we do our interviews, when we do live streams, we use StreamYard. I am a low-tech guy. Folks, everything on here, I'm telling you, everything that I've told you, if I can do it, you can do it. I'm a low-tech redneck in a high-tech world. And there are so many things that I can't do. When it came to live streaming, we realized that we had an opportunity to reach our community in a way that we had never done before. And live streaming was a really cool way to do that. And I tried it through Zoom. I tried it through OBS and other formats, and I just couldn't get the learning curve down. And then we tried the free version of StreamYard. I logged into StreamYard. I connected our social media channels to it. And then I picked a day when we were going to go live. And I said, let's do it. We can do it right now, or we can schedule it in the future. And we did a live stream, and it worked. Now, the first live stream that I did was a test live stream. I did it at 11:30 on a Thursday night, thinking nobody's on Facebook. Nobody's going to see this. And I literally, in a t-shirt, went on to StreamYard, and I did about a 30-second live stream. Said, hey, this is Russ. I'm doing a test of our StreamYard live stream video to YouTube, Facebook, and we're going to do some really cool things with this. Hope to see you soon. Had 35 people show up to see me at 11:30 at night in a t-shirt talking about how we were going to start doing something. It was crazy. But StreamYard has really given us a way to reach out on behalf of our clients and on behalf of Sequoia Fund. And live stream is where it's at. Live Pigeon gives us a way to record things on StreamYard and run it live at a different time. Now, if I just take that video and I load it up to Facebook, Facebook says, oh, this is a recorded video. Big deal. YouTube says, oh, this is a recorded video. We're not going to treat you any differently than any other recorded video. When I do it through Live Pigeon feeds it at the time of my choosing in real time, so that it makes the platforms think it's a live video. And all of a sudden our engagement goes up. People watch when it's live. So all of these things combined give us a digital presence that we didn't have a year ago. We literally started this right about this time last year. And it just grew bigger than we ever thought it would. Now, I'm going to show you in just a second my setup where I've got right now, but you can spend less than $200 and have a great setup for lights, camera, everything. You've got a good camera. Most of the cameras on your computer, as it's built, are good cameras. You might just need to spend a few dollars on a microphone. I'm using a blue Snowball that I think I paid $75 for. I think they've come down in price. But I bought this one several years ago. It's a good travel mic. I've got another mic that stays in the office. I've got another mic that stays in my home office. But this one goes with me, and I love it. You can, if you're going to record on your cell phone, you've got a built-in mic that does a really good job. A ring light works wonders, because a ring light lights up your entire face. It lights up the background, does great. Now, it does make little lit circles in your eyes, makes you look like a cat, but people have kind of gotten used to that. I actually am using, I'm going to pull this down. Let me unshare my screen for just a second. I'm actually using I think it's a $6 shop light with a piece of paper over it to soften the light, from Lowe's. You can get these at Home Depot. You can get them at Lowe's, just little aluminum shop lights with a clamp. That's all it is. And those things work wonders. You can get a couple of those and you've got your lights. You need ideally 3 points of light. You need one in front of you. It's called your key light. You need a light at about a 45-degree angle. It's called your fill light. And then you need another fill light either over your head or behind you to kind of take out the shadows from behind you. And so when you use the sunlight, you've got all of those things built right in. But be careful about the sun. The sun is free, but it's a little fickle. It doesn't always cooperate. You might find that shooting on an overcast day works better, because in an overcast day, you've got lighting from all angles and it's nice and even. Don't look into the direct sunlight. You don't want to be squinting into the sun as you're talking. It is difficult to control, but if you do it right, and if you've got the right angle, Sunlight is perfect. If it's coming through a window, there's no need to spend any money on lights. If you have a background, and again, this is an old conference room, but if you have a background that you want to cover, you can order the Andor softbox photography lighting. There's also some from Limo Kit, I think, Limo. You can order these from Amazon. They're not expensive, and it comes with backdrops. You can also get a neutral colored bed sheet and just hang it, clip it up behind you, and it just softens the background. I don't recommend using Zoom backgrounds as a regular matter of course, unless you have a green screen and really good lighting on that green screen, because it makes your face look fuzzy. And you've seen the kind of the squiggly lines around people's, because what it's doing is the camera's trying to follow you, and it's also trying to fill in all that space behind you, but it doesn't really know what to do with it. So just a good solid bed sheet back there will take care of it. You can set up a studio at your desk. You can set up in your basement. You can set up in a walk-in closet. In fact, I know a lot of people who video regularly from their walk-in closet, which closets are great for sound because of all the clothes that just absorb all that sound. And so you don't have to have a lot of money to look like dynamite. Here's my setup today. This is it. I'm sitting in the brown chair in front of that thing you see behind me. I've used their coffee setup to clamp my $6 lamp and my fluorescent light. I have another small light that just attaches to the top. I actually bought that to attach to the top of my mobile device so that I have lighting on my mobile device. But that's it. I got a basket to hold everything up at eye level, and I plugged in my mic, ready to go. It really doesn't take much more than that. You can look good on camera. You can have a decent setup, because that's not really the important thing. The important thing is, what do you have to say to people? What is it that you're telling them? What are the important things you can bring to them? And how do you get their attention? All right. The last thing here is, how do your videos get seen? If nobody's seeing them, you're practicing. It's not really doing you any good, not really helping your organization. YouTube is the biggest kid on the block. It is the #2 search engine in the world. It's right behind Google. Guess who owns YouTube? Google. Google owns YouTube. You have advertising options. You have ways to reach people on YouTube that you don't have any other way. And YouTube is social. A lot of people don't think about YouTube as being social, but scroll down, look at those comments. And it doesn't matter if people give you a thumbs up or a thumbs down on your video. Even if they hate it, that's engagement. And that's all that matters to YouTube. And so you'll see a video and you'll have, why are there so many thumbs downs? And this is a top ranking video. Everybody hates this video. Well, it doesn't matter to YouTube. It all counts the same. There are other places that you might want to host video if you want to put it on your social channels, or if you want to put it on your website, so that you don't have the clutter that comes with YouTube. And that's Vimeo and Wistia. They both look great. They're easy to use. Again, I'm telling you things that I can use. That means you can use it too. Doesn't matter what level of tech expertise you have. Social media is the fastest growing video platforms out there. More people are watching video on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and Twitter than watching television right now. Now, native is better than links. When I said a few minutes ago that I was going to show you how to post these things so that people could get your videos and get seen, you want to put on what's called native videos, which means you want to load your videos directly to the platforms. You want to put that video on Facebook. You want to put that video in LinkedIn. You want to put that video on Twitter, versus putting it on YouTube and then loading the YouTube link to those platforms. When you put the link on there, their algorithms go, big deal. But if you load the native video right into their video player, then they perk up and they say, oh, we got to show people this video. It's ours. You can load it to multiple platforms. It doesn't matter, but make sure you load those directly to those platforms. And last but not least, your blog or your website. This is where you build longer lasting relationships, more intimate relationships. You can do longer format videos. You can do all kinds of different types of videos on your blog, on your website. You own that property. That's yours. It's not rented. So Flood it with videos. Let people go there and enjoy your videos, the archives and things that you've put out in the past. They'll love it. All right, tech gremlins. Use a producer. I structure videos in a way that when I'm doing live videos, I can do it without a producer, but there are a lot of things that I can't do because I don't use a producer. All this means is that you have somebody else who's running the technology so that you can deliver the content. A lot of times I'll do producing for somebody else. We do webinar Wednesdays, and a lot of times I'll just sit in the background and I'll be the producer running the technology so that that person can put out the content. When you can, you want to have a hardwired connection. If you don't have a hardwired connection, pull up your browser, get online, go to Google and type in the words speed test. The first thing that comes up is the Google speed test. You're going to click on the little blue button that says run speed test. And it's going to tell you how fast your upload and download speeds are. And then it's going to tell you if this connection is fast enough to do what you want to do. So if you're doing live video, you want to make sure you're running a speed test, but have hardwired connections. If you're doing even an audio interview with somebody, you want to see if you can make sure you're plugged in somewhere, because funky things happen with Wi-Fi. You even want to have a backup computer. You want to have a battery backup for your camera. You want to have an extra battery for your camera, or an extra battery for your phone, or a plug-in battery pack for your camera, because they tend to run out of juice at the worst times. You want to test, and test again. Even when I'm doing dedicated camera videos where I've got the camera sitting there, it's not live. I've got all the time in the world to shoot it, to clip it, to edit it, and produce it. I'll still do a 2 or 3 minute video and then put that card in my computer and test it. I want to make sure I don't want to spend half a day videoing stuff and find out that my card was corrupted, or there was a smudge on the lens, or something happened that it doesn't work. So test, and test again, and expect problems, expect the gremlins, expect things to happen, because it's going to happen. You're going to come down with an uncontrollable cough right in the middle of the video, or you're going to need to sneeze, or all of a sudden your nose will start running, or there's something that's causing your eyes to start watering. Maybe it's an allergen, or the dog barks next door. Those things all happen. Just learn to roll with it, deal with it, put your videos out there into the world, and don't worry about it. The more you do it, the better you will get. The better you get, the more people expect. And so be consistent with it. Make sure you got something good to say, and let the world know. This is one of the best ways that we found to engage our community. And Sequoia Fund is leaning heavy on this. And the low-tech technology that I've given you, this is plug and play stuff. You don't have to go through any kind of learning cycle, except maybe with your iMovie or your Windows Movie Maker. But here's the deal that I'm going to make with you as a result of you being here today at the Capital Access Convening. You've got my phone number here. You've got my email address. Reach out to me. If there's something you want to do and you want to learn how to do it better, I'm not going to charge you for this. You call and we'll set up a time to talk, and I'll walk you through this, and we'll make you a pro. I promise. All right. That was our signal to turn it back over to Heather. Heather, it's all yours.
Thank you so much, Russ. That was a wonderful presentation. I took a bunch away from your presentation. I don't know if you noticed, I started with the background screen and I took it away.
Rock on.
I definitely took some stuff away where I was like, I'm going to share this with our communications person, because she probably knows some of this, and some of this she might not know. So I think it was so helpful and such a great presentation, and so needed for a lot of the work we're doing and trying to reach so many people. And thank you so much for making that offer to folks that have joined us for this session. So that being said, I'll thank you one more time. Thank all the participants for joining us. The recording and the PowerPoint will be shared, so you'll get that as well. And please join us in around 15 minutes. Grab some water, take a bio break, and join us for our discussion with the CDFI Fund.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you so much for your time.